Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very fun video for you guys. We actually did a trip during the Christmas time to London last year, and I saved it for this year so that I could share it with you early enough that you could plan a trip around it. So we did do a lot of free things. We think that Christmas is an amazing time to come and enjoy London because just walking around is absolutely beautiful. We wanted to share with you some of the things we did, as well as some of the tricks that we use to get around. So one of the first ones is that you can actually use Apple Pay or Google Pay to navigate their public transport system. So both on the underground, the tube, the metro, whatever you want to call it, and on the buses, you can just scan in and out using your phone, which we found really handy, and it actually makes it a lot easier for you to save some money because you're really paying for where you went in and where you went out. On our first day here, as you can tell, it was very rainy, and we started off at Tower Bridge. A lot of people think it's called the London Bridge. It's not. This is actually called Tower Bridge. We just used Google Maps to see what the easiest metro stop to explore this area was from where we were, and then we just allowed ourselves to walk around. So we walked over the bridge and used this opportunity to take some photos. It is very nice, like I said, to just walk around and explore this area because it looks just like the movies. We actually crossed the bridge towards Potterfields Park, and from there we just explored the Christmas market. The Christmas market in this area is just a bunch of little stands, and they have everything from little ornaments to food you can try. It felt very natural to just explore that area, so my biggest suggestion here is not that you follow any certain path or itinerary, but that you just allow yourself to explore whatever looks nice, which is pretty much what we did. Then from there we just kept walking until we got to the actual London Bridge that most people mistake for Tower Bridge, because our next stop was SkyGarden. SkyGarden is this awesome viewpoint that gives you an amazing view of the city, and it's actually completely free. My only advice to you is that you book this well in advance. You just have to book, you don't have to pay anything, because it does have limited spots and they do sell out very regularly, especially around this time of year. But up there is exactly what it sounds like. It's a garden in the sky, and it gives you 360 views of the city, and you can just sit down for a tea or a little cake if you want to. I do recommend that you take a jacket. Obviously, if you're coming in this time of year, it's going to be chilly, but up there it's especially windy and especially cold. So if you want to really make the best of it and stay outside as long as possible, then I recommend bringing a jacket. Our next stop was actually Leadenhall Market, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and we tried to have lunch here. Now, every place that we tried to get a place at was completely full. This does cater to the business area of London, so there's a lot of business people having important looking lunches and dinners here in this area. I would highly recommend looking up some of the restaurants in advance and maybe booking one if that's something you're interested in. We then ended up exploring the business district a little bit more until we eventually crossed the London Bridge back to the other side in order to go to the Borough Market. Again, I realized that this is not the most effective route, but our original plan was to have food at Leadenhall Market, and it didn't work out, and we're very happy it didn't work out because the Borough Market was just like this underground feel kind of place. It has a lot of restaurants, a lot of different cuisines, and it was also very beautifully decorated for Christmas, so it ended up being a very unexpected but cool experience. After that, we continued walking next to the river towards Millennium Bridge so that we could go and see the Tate Modern exhibition. The Tate Modern Museum is free, and it's a museum of modern art, and so if you're into that, and even if you're not, it's really worth exploring and walking through. My husband is not a huge fan of art. For me, it really depends, but we did have a really good time, and it was a nice refuge from the cold, I have to admit. After that, we decided to get on a bus and head towards the London Eye. You can definitely keep walking there, but we were getting a little bit tired and definitely a little bit cold. I have been in the London Eye as part of a school trip once. I don't think I recommend paying the price for it. I think it's a little bit overrated, especially if you just been to the SkyGarden, which was free, but I do really like the area around the London Eye. We get awesome views of the Parliament. After that, of course, we crossed the bridge over to go see the Big Ben in a little bit more detail. You have to be very careful in this area because there are a lot of pickpockets, and avoid walking around in areas where there's not a lot of crowds alone at night because it can be a little bit dangerous, especially if you're traveling solo. After this, and this was not a free activity, we went to see The Lion King on Broadway. We mainly did this as a thank you to the friend of mine who hosted us. We took her and her boyfriend to go see The Lion King, and for us it was very worth it. I think that our tickets started at around, I want to say £60, and we still had a good view and a good experience. So if you're into musicals, this is something you can consider checking out. For day 2, of course, we had to start our day at Harrods. If you don't know what Harrods is, it's basically just a gigantic mall, but the aesthetic and the atmosphere is unparalleled, especially if you go in the Christmas time. I cannot tell you how hard it was not to buy every single ornament I saw, and even if you don't end up buying any ornaments, it's so beautiful to go through and it's so vibey. Christmas time makes everything better. So after that, we headed towards Piccadilly Circus. Piccadilly Circus is known as being like the Times Square of London, and you can see very cool street artists and just go to like M&M's World if you're into that. But we actually came here because we wanted to get on one of the buses. We wanted to get on bus 139. Getting on a bus here in London, especially if you're able to go up to the top deck and sit on the front seats, is actually a really low cost way of seeing the city, because you can find routes that go basically anywhere and you just pay the £2 for the bus ride. You can actually hop on and off as well, so long as you stay within that 1 hour. After enjoying this little free tour of London, we actually went back to the market of day 1 because my husband really wanted to try some of the treats, and on day 1 the little stands were closed, some of them. So the ornaments one were open but the treat ones were closed, and so we went back to Tower Bridge basically to enjoy some of the treats, and that's where we ended up having lunch, just like little street foods, and it was very enjoyable. Now, my biggest hack of probably this whole video has got to be doing one of these bus routes that I mentioned earlier at night, and especially if you choose route 139 heading from Waterloo to Golders Green, so basically the same one we took this morning but at night. You get to see what the internet has dubbed as the most Christmassy bus route in town, and we're here to say that the internet was right. It really was beautiful. Once again, we got on that top deck. We had to fight for those seats. We just found the beginning of the route in Waterloo and rushed upstairs essentially, but I have to say that seeing the lights from the bus is such a like energy efficient way of just enjoying everything, and again, it's £2. We ended the day at the gorgeous Winter Wonderland, which starts at the end of November, and if you enter it before a certain time, I believe it's 5 p.m, the entrance is free. If you enter at night, then you have to pay I think like £5, but we did go right before you had to pay for it, so we entered while it was free. And then if you want to do things inside, obviously you do have to pay, and I will say it is a little bit overpriced, but we did go on 1 or 2 attractions and we did very much enjoy our time there. Please just be very cautious when going back home, especially if you exit via the park side, just because it can get a little bit sketchy at night. Day 3 was not really a day for us in London, but we did want to stop by Buckingham Palace on our way to the airport, because what would a trip to London be without visiting the palace, right? So we did stop and go enjoy that general area. It's another very beautiful area to explore. The park is very beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a very short video and a very short trip, but I do hope that you got some gems from this of free things to do and that you enjoy it. And if you do, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.